The News Hour Special Edition.
Welcome back. Viewers, on the eve of Budget Day, we take a closer look at India's manufacturing journey and the policies that have shaped it. Since 2014, India has shifted gears, placing manufacturing at the center of its growth strategy. Initiatives like Make in India and production-linked incentive schemes have expanded domestic production, strengthened key industries and integrated India into global supply chains. The latest India-EU trade deal marked another milestone, strengthening India's manufacturing exports and global trade footprint. But one question which has been in all our minds: what took us so long to sign the mother of all deals? In an exclusive conversation with Times Now's Navika Kumar, Union Commerce and Industries Minister Piyush Goyal gave us the reason behind the delay. He blamed the Congress-led UPA regime for abandoning EU negotiations in favor of RCEP with China. Listen in.
Mother of all deals has been signed by you. A deal that was in the negotiations for 20 long years. I mean, since we are talking about 20 years, 20 long years is how long the EU-India trade deal was being negotiated. Why did it not conclude before this? And have we really given in a lot of concessions, as the opposition says, just to make it happen?
First of all, one must look at the history of this deal. 2006, it was decided that we should engage with EU. 7, it was launched. And in 2013, they aborted this. And instead of pursuing and closing a deal with a developed economy like the European Union, the UPA, Congress-led UPA, for reasons really a mystery to the world, decided that India should enter into a free trade agreement with China. They aborted the EU deal, which would have been great for India, which would have given our labor-intensive sectors a huge boost, created lakhs of jobs, earned us billions of dollars of export revenue and foreign exchange every year, given our youth a bright and prosperous future. Instead of this, the Congress decided to join the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership negotiations.
So you heard, viewers, we had the Union Minister citing the India growth story and saying that it was the Congress party, Congress-led UPA, that was responsible for what we are witnessing as far as our manufacturing is concerned at that point in time, how it declined. And to discuss it, I'm joined on the debate by Shehzad, Poonawalla, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Tushar Gupta, political analyst, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, political analyst. We also have with us Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, senior economist. Good evening to all of you. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, your reaction to what Union Minister Piyush Goyal had to say. It was Congress party that was responsible for the crisis in our manufacturing sector.
Yeah, Heena, you see, it's very convenient to blame the Congress party over the last growth that we achieved before the NDA came to power in 2014. But let us get into some close, hard facts from 2014 till date. Let's see the flagship scheme of Narendra Modi government, the Make in India scheme. Where does it stand now? When it was launched in 2014, the goal was to raise manufacturing share in GDP to 25% by 2022. But very sadly, we are still at the same decade-old figure of 15 to 16% of the GDP. In absolute terms, output has grown, but India's relative global share remains low. About 2 to 3% of global manufacturing. Compare that with China, 28 to 30% the global share of China. Now, if you go for the production-linked incentive scheme started by Narendra Modi with much fanfare in 2021. Now, what is this? Only 37% of PLI output targets were met by companies under this flagship program.
Okay. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I gave you more than a minute without any interruption, despite you choosing to not answer my direct question. So let me make another attempt. We are talking about a specific event. We're talking about India-EU free trade agreement. The talks began about 20 years ago. It was an opportunity for really look at developed markets, they could have really given our industry, our manufacturing sector a fillip at that point in time. But it did not happen. Will you at least agree that it was a wrong decision?
No, governance does not happen on TV studios. When India started in 1947, we did not have the capacity to manufacture even a nail.
Okay.
But in 1991, when we opened our economy to the world, there were lots of ups and downs that the UP and the Congress government faced. But we progressed from there till today. Successive governments have always wanted to boost up the Indian economy, boost up the manufacturing sectors, bring in the employment-linked growths in the country.
Okay.
But after 11 years, even if the Narendra Modi government wants to pin its failures on the Congress government, this is absolutely what you call this.
Okay.
I can't
Shehzad
tell, I can find a word.
Shehzad Poonawalla, then Dr. Mehrotra.
Let me just quote some facts. First of all, in his own admission, he says that in 2014, we were 15% of GDP in terms of manufacturing contribution, and today we are around the same. But that time it was a $1.5 trillion economy. Today it's over a $4 trillion economy. So what is bigger? Please, sir, don't interrupt. I did not interrupt you. PMI averaged around 52. Please don't interrupt. 52 in 2014. Today it's 56.8, up from 55. PLI scheme, which you've spoken about, we have attracted 18.7 lakh crores in investment and 12.6 lakh direct jobs because of the PLI scheme. The jobs in manufacturing 2014 was about 6%. Today it's about 15% job creation. Merchandise export was about $310 billion in 2014-15. Today it's about $825 billion. FDI in manufacturing in the last 10 years of Manmohan Singh was about 8.37 lakh crores. Today it is about 15 lakh crores. Mobile phone factories, 2 units in 2014. Today it is 300 plus units. We're actually exporting in mobile phones, and we also don't need to import any mobile phones for our own requirement. Similarly, our exports of mobile phones has increased. Toy exports have increased. Our imports on toys have decreased. Defense goods are today touching 23,000 crores of exports. So how has this happened? And can you elaborate if any of this happened during the Manmohan Singh era? Now, secondly, he says that about the India-EU trade deal. The India-EU trade deal should have been what we should have focused on, because this represents 25% of global GDP, 1/3 of global trade. This was between the largest democracies and economies in the world, opening up our market access to Europe for our labor-intensive goods. For example, marines are now down to zero tariff. Marine goods are down to zero tariff for fisheries. Okay. Instead of doing that, what did we go in for? For RCEP, where basically we would have given China a free run. So rather than doing the trade deals with economies which are complementary, we did it with those which were combative, or which were, in a sense, which were competitive, and that led to a loss for us. And these are 8 FTAs plus the India-EU FTA, which has actually benefited our economy.
Dr. Santosh Mehrotra, you know, you've been on a lot of debates with me on the state of the economy, and you have repeatedly spoken about how we've not really been able to grow our manufacturing sector. As somebody who's watched the Indian economy very closely, do you think perhaps India lost a golden opportunity by not pursuing the trade talks with EU at that point in time and tilting towards China instead?
Well, I can only be amused by the question for the following reason, that the government which is complaining now about what the previous government was not doing has itself been in power for 11 years. Why has it taken this government 11 years to come to a final conclusion on India-EU? But, you know, let's just put the facts on the table as far as manufacturing is concerned. For 25 years from 1991 onwards, the share of manufacturing in gross value added in India's economy was in the region of 16 to 17% on average for 25 years. From 2015 onwards, it systematically fell from that 16 to 17% average for a 25-year period, and today stands at 14%. So much for your PLI, so much for your Make in India, and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Let me the facts. I haven't finished. Manufacturing employment under this government which had risen to 12.8% of total workforce in 2012, has actually fallen to 11% of the total workforce. In absolute terms, manufacturing employment fell. And if I may correct Mr. Kamaruzuma, merchandise trade as a whole, India's share in global trade is 1.8%. It's not even 2%. And its entire merchandise trade, it's not meaning merchandise exports, not talking about only manufacturers. It's in services that we export our share is about 3.5% of global trade.
Okay.
So the bottom line is, for 11 years, the government has been in power. You are trying to blame this. Arey to Nehru ji pe kyun nahi blame kar dete?
Okay. Okay.
Can I just come out very quickly?
Okay.
I just want to, first of all, Mr. Santosh Mehrotra ji, was the RCEP, which was essentially a free trade agreement with China, beneficial for the Indian economy? And full year out.
Not a free
please,
trade
sir,
agreement
please have the patience to not behave like a political spokesperson. And here I heard you out. I heard you out. I heard you out. Can you hear me out? Or are you a party spokesperson or an economist?
Both of you calm down. Both of you calm down. Okay, both of you calm down. Let me moderate. One second. Both of you please calm down. Shehzad, make your point. 10 seconds. I want to go across to
The problem with the likes of Santosh Mehrotra is that his ignorance beats his propaganda, because he just quoted a percent. Now, let me complete, Heena. He quoted a percentage term and then said that in absolute terms it has fallen. This is his understanding of economics. Now, having said that, I don't want to fall into that. We signed FTAs with Australia, UAE, Mauritius, EFTA, UK, Canada, Israel and EU.
Okay.
You were trying for a free trade agreement with China.
Okay.
Mr. Mehrotra, please quote facts about the merchandise exports.
Okay.
Please quote facts about defense exports. Please quote facts about
10 seconds only. Please stick to the time.
You are a propagandist.
Shehzad, 1 second. Shehzad, 1 second. Dr. Mehrotra, 1 second.
He speaks like a political spokesperson.
That is why I gave you time to make your point. Dr. Mehrotra, quick rebuttal. I want to go across to Tushar as well.
You don't have facts.
Okay. Now one person at a time, please. Dr. Mehrotra, 10 seconds, quick rebuttal.
And beyond facts.
Sir, Shehzad, 1 second.
Let Tushar speak. I mean, he hasn't spoken. Let Tushar speak.
You have no answer. So better
run away.
Run away.
All right, Tushar.
You didn't give me a...
Don't have an answer.
One second, gentlemen, please. Kal budget ka din hai. I have to speak a lot.
That's all right, but he proves he's Rahul Gandhi's spokesperson. You know what? We should stop treating with kid gloves people who dress up as economists and come here as propagandists.
Okay, Tushar.
Let's call them out.
Dr. Mehrotra did not really answer my direct question. So I want to ask you the same question. Do you think India missed a golden opportunity by not really pursuing, the free trade agreement talks in 2013, and instead of that looking at China and RCEP? Because then that arrangement actually gave a bigger competitive advantage to our neighboring countries like Bangladesh and then other Asian countries like Vietnam.
Look, RCEP was a disaster, but to answer your question, we have missed a manufacturing bus, and economic survey answers that question quite well. We have a $280 billion trade deficit with the world, and we have missed both high value and high volume export manufacturing. But that is a question for, the 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s, how it went. Since everyone has given a lot of numbers, I'll give you a story. In the 1990s, and since everyone has a crocine or a saridon at their home, so this would resonate with them. Everyone who uses crocine, it has an active pharmaceutical ingredient that goes into its manufacturing. In the 1990s, we used to produce all of it in India. By the end of 2014, we were reliant entirely on China for APIs. So in 2020, when the pandemic hit and the global supply lines completely shut down, our worry was, how will we ensure that the households of India have a crocine pill for their children or for their elderly? This is where our manufacturing was. And today with the PLI in the pharma sector, we have cut out that dependency completely. We are back in the business of manufacturing APIs. This is just one story about how we are playing the catch-up of decades of latent policy making, decades of lazy policy making, and decades of ignoring manufacturing at the cost of appeasing trade unions in Mumbai, in Kolkata, the results of which are visible even today in those cities.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, please respond.
No, basically, I don't want to go into tutu meme because as we speak, you know, you can find a definite unease in the BJP spokesperson's face. But ultimately, where do we lag? You know, Modi has set some unrealistic targets, which are not possible to be filled without resolving the deep structural constraints that India faces. Not only in the manufacturing
Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji, they say you should always shoot for the moon so that you can at least land among the stars. At least आपके ambitions तो बड़े होने चाहिए, तभी तो कुछ achieve करेंगे. Anyways, everybody was talking about data here. Eco Survey was also quoted. Eco Survey, by the way, gentlemen, has also mentioned that PLI schemes in 14 sectors have brought investment of at least 2 lakh crores. It's created about 12.6 lakh jobs. Then also there is a fact that you have International Monetary Fund saying that India remains the bright spot. India is a key engine in the global economy. Despite all the turbulence, we continue to remain the fastest growing economy in the world. What happens to all of that then?
Comment only. But why is $23 billion manufacturing push tied to PLI reportedly being allowed to lapse in the last financial year without expansion? Where is the $23 billion going? Narendra Modi's economic survey report will not say this, Heena. The real crisis in the jobless growth that India is facing. Unemployment is a big issue.
Quick rebuttal.
Firstly, the PLI for the electronic equipment and electronics is up for renewal later this year. It was not due for renewal last year. So fact-checking Kamruzaman Chaudhary on that. Second, he said you have not removed the constraints. He needs to talk about the GST reforms, the labor reforms that have now been codified. I'm not saying they'll give you instant results, but all those are steps in the right direction that you also have to talk about while citing the weaknesses, the legacy weaknesses in India's manufacturing ecosystem. Number 3, we are going for the high volume and high value exports both. We are getting into the semiconductor manufacturing, which will start showing results. We are getting into high equipment manufacturing, which will start showing results. And we're also getting into high volume manufacturing. The most important thing is the Prime Minister reached out to the MSMEs. And I hope the budget tomorrow also focuses on MSMEs. When he said you have an opportunity.
And my point is simple. I mean, if India, like they say, was a dead economy, as many people in this country, keep repeating again and again, then why would countries be even interested in, signing free trade agreements with our country? Why would the European Commission chief say that if India succeeds, only then there can be stability in the world? Why would the European Commission chief here in India say we have delivered the mother of all deals? I mean, this is not something that Indians are saying. This is how the world is looking at India. We leave it there. Tomorrow is an important budget day. We'll see what eventually comes out because there are high expectations. Thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on this debate. We would now be slipping into a short break. And on the other side, you have the entire interview of Union Minister Piyush Goyal lined up with Navika Kumar. Stay with us.